Well, some of the figures that we've seen come through to the markets. Let's drill down into factors at play here, because of course we've got high international coffee prices standing out as a clear factor. What kind of price activity have we been seeing?
Yeah, there is a lot of excitement within the country because of the good prices which the farmers have achieved during the last year. Against a backdrop of not too good production levels, and we are planning to hold consultative meetings so that we can increase our production, because the prices are good in real terms, but in actual fact, we know there is quite a challenge because of the economic situation within the country.
Yep, in fact, looking at these prices, I mean, you've got them sitting at around about $1,022 per bag for benchmark grain AA, and we've had some say that these prices have just been unreal. They've even been labeled abnormal prices, sitting at all-time highs. How are coffee producers looking to leverage off these current prices? Are they employing any hedging strategies so that, you know, the effects of this can be longer lasting?
The country at the moment basically is not on the hedging of prices. So the prices are actually on as they are produced. I mean, the coffee is sold as it's produced. But the unrealistic coffee is really also mirrored on the global prices. So we don't think it's really unique for Kenya. But we've had an advantage because of the premium we fetch because of our high premium, I mean high Arabica qualities.
Do you think hedging strategies is something that coffee producers would pursue further down the road?
It is. We are in discussion, even at the International Coffee Organization. Just came back from the 107 ICO meeting in London, and it is a strategy which is being sought at that level. But for most of us, the producer side, I mean, African countries are not yet there. At least not in a big way.
Of course, just how enticing employing hedging strategies becomes is all dependent on that outlook for prices moving forward. So what's the market pricing in terms of price forecasts as we move forward?
The prices are forecast to remain firm. They may not have very sharp peaks as we have witnessed in the past, but they're going to oscillate at a higher plateau, which still gives us producers a lot of hope to increase our production.
Well, it's certainly that supply-demand dynamic that you touched on earlier that will impact pricing moving forward as well. And the weather is a factor to consider in that regard. It's a factor that obviously lies beyond the industry's control. How has this impacted the supply side of the supply-demand equilibrium?
Yeah, it's true that the weather has really had a beating on the coffee industry in Kenya, and I believe in the continent. We have initiatives on the ground. Currently, we have a collaborative effort with the private sector where we're experimenting on what we call the cool farm, the cool farm tool to put up strategies of how to mitigate against the weather going forward. It's on a small scale, but it's an activity which can be pushed forward.
So give us an example of how exactly you would look to, or some of these initiatives that you are employing would look to mitigate against that weather risk.
They are more of farmer-based tree planting to manage, for example, the temperatures, and water harvesting strategies to ensure that when there is drought, there would be water within the farms which can be used to irrigate the coffees.
Is that the only factor that's been hampering production? You mentioned that there is a drive towards enhancing production levels moving forward. Are there other focus areas that you've got on the table?
Other challenges have been financing. The level of financing is not up to the level we would anticipate. And we've been engaging also with the policymakers, and we will be seeing some interventions maybe through government for more funding into the industry. Currently, we have the development fund, which is funded at about Kenya shillings 1 billion, and would like to see it go up maybe to about 6 billion.
Loise, then on the demand side of things, do worries of a global slowdown put that end under pressure on the demand side?
The demand side, I think it's all looking up, because the newcomers to the demand side or to the consuming side are really looking and seeking out for Kenyan coffee. I believe at the moment we can't give enough to the market, so the challenge is to produce.
Very much like the weather, beyond industry's control, we've got forex fluctuations as well. We've had much furor around the weakening shilling and what the Central Bank of Kenya is actually doing to curb that slide that we've seen, where inflation is surging within the economy. But for Kenyan exporters like coffee producers, one would assume this provides a pretty nice cushion. To what extent?
Yeah, on the face of it, it's true, but in real terms, the same producers are buying very expensive farm inputs, because the prices of fertilizers are quite high. Other costs like electricity to power processing of the coffees is quite high. So, and of course, the normal consumer items they need to buy. So the stronger gains from the coffee really are lost. So when it comes to purchase side, or yeah.
So somewhat of a net effect being experienced there. Loise,
yeah,
thanks so much for your time this afternoon. Of course, Loise Njeru is Managing Director at the Coffee Board of Kenya.